Srikanth Kondapalli is the Dean of the School of International Studies at Jawaharlal Nehru University, and he joins me now live from New Delhi. Thank you so much, Professor, for joining us here on the program today. Now, can we describe this visit by the Chinese foreign minister as a new page in relations between the two countries?
I think the visit was overshadowed by the Russian invasion of Ukraine. There is a lot of pressure from Russia in order to rope in both China and India. Both of these have abstained from the Security Council resolution soon after the invasion began. So there is a lot of Russian pressure. Number one, in terms of providing some kind of a multipolarity debate. And one of the missions of Foreign Minister Wang Yi is to conduct the BRICS meeting somewhere at the end of this year. But there is also a lot of other, because the sanctions on Russia are being intensified. So the Chinese ambassador to Russia, Chang Han-hui, mentioned last week that the Chinese companies should seize the opportunity as the MNCs are shifting out of Russia. And so the Chinese companies should fill up a Russian market, number one. Number two, Russia is also exerting pressure on China to intensify the anti-US position in the recent times. Thirdly, there is also a proposal for energy cooperation as the energy prices are increasing substantially because of the issues related to Nord Stream 2 and others in Russia to EU. So there is a lot of pressure in terms of the energy cooperation.
Right.
India has already bought some oil from Russia on swap markets and others. And so this is one in the background. I do not think that the bilateral issues are discussed any extensively.
The two countries are somewhat finding themselves in an awkward position because China and India are sort of on the same front when it comes to the conflict in Ukraine, but with the dealings in the Indo-Pacific and India being part of the Quad, that sort of brings a wedge between China and India.
Indeed, we have had the virtual Quad meeting soon after the Russian invasion of Ukraine. India's position, of course, is the Quad meeting is mainly in the maritime domain, and so the Ukrainian theater is not so relevant for this. Nevertheless, India cannot also shy away from the impact of the Russian invasion on Ukraine. So the Indo-Pacific is also a part of this. As you know, that the United States, Japan, and Australia have conducted a joint military exercise in South China Sea. So it is becoming a key problem for China as well in the South China Sea and Taiwan Straits. There are a series of visits by the US leaders, officials, Taiwan. And so this is an area where it is problematic. But let me say that the Chinese have deployed 70,000 troops on the Indian borders, and India has over 140,000 troops. So as you played out on the TV, Dr. Jaishankar mentioned, this is a very abnormal relationship between China and India.
It is indeed. I want to talk a bit about this article that you've written, and I'm really short on time. I'm so sorry for that. But you wrote an article on the possibility of China taking military action in Taiwan in light of the Russia-Ukraine conflict. But international response would be much different, especially from the U.S., given the ties Taiwan has with the U.S.
Absolutely. I think after the Chinese have seen the reactions on Russia in terms of sanctions, in terms of a lot of other international isolation, the Chinese are now worried about the situation in Taiwan if they use military action on Taiwan. So because China is heavily dependent on globalization. For example, China-US trade is over $700 billion. China-Russia trade is $140 billion. China-EU trade is over $600 billion. So China earns something like $800 billion from US and EU every year. And all this would be gone if there would be sanctions on China in the aftermath of any invasion on Taiwan. Xi Jinping said in Davos meeting that they want to be the leaders of globalization. So all this would be problematic if China takes a military action on Taiwan.
All right, Srikanth Kondapalli, thank you so much for joining us here on the NewsHour and sharing that insight with us. It was a pleasure speaking to you.